Hey everybody, I get a lot of questions and comments from viewers, subscribers, and I appreciate every one of them, I really do. I've only had a couple of negative comments the whole time I've been doing this, so I want you to know that I do appreciate any comment you make, even if it's just a good video or if it's a couple of paragraphs long. It's got some questions in it. As I've always said, I will try to address all the questions, answer all the questions that I can, and incorporate some of your ideas if I'm able. But one of the questions that I get a lot involves my shooting, where I'm shooting from. And the question I get a lot is it private property? Are you on private property? Can the public access this? The simple answer to that question for most of the places I shoot from is yes, it's private property, and no, the public can't access a great deal of it. I have a lot of, I'm not going to say clout, but I have a lot of recognition around here. If I were to go to Donner Pass or Beaumont Hill or something, I might not have the access I have here because nobody knows who I am down there. The guys see me out here shooting videos. They know what I'm doing. They know I'm not going to get in their way. I don't get bothered much. I actually don't see people very often when I'm out shooting. I tend to shoot early in the morning or earlier in the morning, and at that time most of the maintenance away guys or signal guys are still going through their job briefings and getting things ready and on their way to job sites rather than actually being out there. And you just don't see that many people when you're out there in these remote places. Think about it when you're driving by the tracks, because a lot of railroad is right next to freeways, and you don't think about it. You really don't see many people out there working. It's the same in the remote places. It's even more so because it's harder to get to. The workers don't tend to go in those places unless they have something to do. They don't just drive around looking for rail fans or retired employees shooting videos. But people ask me, you know, is it possible for us to get up here? Or, I don't want to trespass. Look, I'm not going to encourage anyone to do anything that they might get in trouble for doing. But I will say this, there are places up there, people ask about Bealville and up around Tunnel 3 and the remains of Tunnel 4 and up to Tunnel 5. Those places are pretty easy to get to. They're not very far off of Bealville Road. There are no hills you have to go up, and until you get to Tunnel 5, there are no gates. It's all easily accessible, and especially if you're out on a weekend, it's unlikely that you're going to encounter anyone up there. And if you were to encounter one of the SP, the only SP agent up there on the hill, he would probably just tell you need to leave. It's unlikely that you would actually get in any kind of trouble. Don't give them any grief. If you encounter roadway workers up there, chances are they're just going to drive by and wave at you and think you're, hey, you're just some other rail fan, as long as you're not doing anything stupid, as long as you're not getting in the way. And brings me to my next point. If you are out there somewhere, no matter where, whether it's publicly accessible, because a lot of places along the tracks are publicly accessible, and if you see people out there working, don't approach them, don't go ask them questions, don't ask them when the next train's coming, just leave them alone, stay away from them, because they are obligated to report trespassers. They usually don't because they're busy, they don't have time for that kind of crap. But if you start bugging them, who knows? Who knows how a foreman is going to react. Stay away from the tracks. You can get great shots. You've seen all my videos. I don't stand next to the tracks. I never give a train the impression that I might jump out in front of them or foul the tracks as they approach. I always wave at them as they're coming. Let them know that you see them and that you're not going to do anything stupid. Sometimes, I worked for the railroad for 40 years. I've been shooting videos now since I retired for almost a year now. And sometimes I see these rail fans do some incredibly dangerous and incredibly stupid things. Not very many. I've only actually over all these years I've only seen that happen a few times. Most of you rail fans are respectful and understand the dangers of being out there. If you're shooting videos, like I said, wave at the train as they're coming. Let them know that you're there and that you see them. And chances are they're not going to, report you either or throw a bottle of water at you or anything. But never jump out in foul of the tracks or in front of a train to get that shot. It's not worth it. I know people do it. A good thing to do, I see some people use this in their videos, is find a curve in a cool place and use a long focal length to make it look like the train's coming right at you, and then all of a sudden it goes around a curve. I shoot, you know how I shoot, you know what my stuff looks like. I tend to do a little closer up, but I'm never, ever fouling the tracks. I'm not going to lie and say I don't go out there and look down the tracks or look at a specific thing, but I know how to tell if trains are around. I've worked there for a long time, but if you're not conversant with that kind of stuff, just stay away from the tracks. Take the area up by Tunnel 3 to Tunnel 5. As long as you're staying on the right-of-way road there, you're really not close to the tracks. You can stay 20, 30, 40 feet away from the tracks, even driving alongside them up there, because it's a big, wide right-of-way road. If you decide to go out somewhere, even if it's publicly accessible and there's not much clearance between the roadway and the tracks, I suggest you stay away from it. I suggest you don't take that chance. You get stuck in the ballast. There's no telling. Just always be safe. The railroad, I always said when I was working that the railroad is really no more dangerous than any other heavy industry. It's just a lot less forgiving of mistakes. And I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want to see anybody get in trouble. And so, as I said, I'm not encouraging anybody to go do anything illegal. But there are places that are pretty easy to get to, and there are other places that are not easy to get to. And don't take any chances if you can't see, if you think you might want to go down a steep hill or something, you might want to think twice about that, because you don't want to get down in some hole somewhere, whether you're around the tracks or wherever, and not be able to get out of there. Don't get stuck, then you got to involve tow trucks, and that turns into an issue. So just mind what you're doing while you're out there. Pay attention to where you're going. Know where you're going. As I said, the Tehachapi area, the tracks up there are semi-remote. I mean, you can almost always see a road from most of the tracks, but to get to that road can be a real bear. So don't put yourself in any odd situations. If there's a locked gate, don't go through it. If there's a gate that is closed and latched, it's probably a good idea to not go through that gate. You could be, once you do that, then you're not on railroad property anymore. Then you're on the ranchers' properties, and they get pretty sketchy about people up there, especially if they're running cattle. Some people tend to leave gates open because they're only going to be in there for a few minutes. It only takes a few minutes for cattle to get out on the tracks and get hit by trains. Costs the railroad a lot of money and causes a lot of problems. But take it easy. Get back to the remoteness of areas and not seeing people. I hear a lot of people say, well, on Cajon's a different story. You're in close proximity to one of the busiest freeways in California. It's popular because of the railroads all having tracks that meet up. The scenery is really spectacular, and so it's pretty popular for that reason. And it's very close to major population centers, so they tend to be a lot of rail fans that go there, especially if there's an event like when the big boy came through, or if there's some sort of special that people want to get. And in cases like that, those are the times. I remember when the 44, 49 used to come through the Tehachapi, the few times it did when I was up there. It was dangerous. The rail fans were driving, trespassing on right-of-way roads in numbers, and driving crazy on Bena Road alongside the tracks. And in those cases, those kind of rail fans are their own worst enemies, and they make it hard on the people who just really want to go enjoy watching some trains. So, you know, Cajon, even if I were to go up there, you know, and I still have an ID, a company ID and all that, and even if I were to tell them my history, they still might not want me up there, especially BNSF. I didn't work for them. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't have a problem with it once I explain myself. But there again, I don't encourage anyone to mess around up on Cajon, in any of the places that are not publicly accessible. But anyway, I just wanted to address that because I do get a lot of questions about it. Make sure you know where you are. Make sure you know where you're going. Don't guess. Happy hunting. I hope you guys get all the shots of great trains you want. And if you can't, that's what my channel's for. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content. And we will see you all on my videos. Maybe even out there somewhere. See you around.